World Serpent Arcanist by Shami Stoval, so let's search for the magic of books. Well, this book was fun. I just came out a couple days ago from when I finished reading the last one, which was Plague Arcanist, of course. This is the 5th book in the Frith Chronicles. I've really been enjoying them so far, and she seems to be putting them out at a pretty decent pace. I see the next one's already being thought about. The next one would be Warlord Arcanist. This book, while good still, was a little bit slower paced, it felt to me, which was a little bit of a different shift from her previous books, where they were always much more fast-paced and kind of racing from one end to the other. And you get that feeling about halfway to 2/3 of the way through this book, but really the first half of the book was kind of just, it felt slow to me. Doesn't mean it wasn't good. It just was a little slower, different kind of points. I still would give it, a good 4 out of 5 stars. I really love the world that she's building and how every book just adds on a little bit more to it and a little bit more to it. So you never feel like you're being overwhelmed, but every book has something new and, feel in it. So let's just start talking about it. This is going to be your heavy spoilers. We're going to talk about things from the beginning to the end. And let's just give a quick recap here at the beginning. So Volk has just achieved his true form Arcanist, his true form Nightmare Arcanisty, and he has been reunited with the Frith Guild, and they are on the way back, leaving the excavation site where the Apoc dragon from the previous ascension was buried, and they are making their way back to find who and where the world serpent where the world serpent is and who they are going to bind to the world serpent. So they are going that way. They're waiting for the Guildmaster Eventide to find somebody using mystics. They find them, and then they go to, they follow the occult compass, which we brought up in book 2, which is a nice little play. I liked that. It was very unique. Very not unique, but a good reminder of where, we've been. And then they find the world serpent, and they get someone to bond with the world serpent, and then that is the end of the book. Now, let's just talk about a lot of things that go on, like so much. You'd think with Volk's true form, his abilities have gone up. It no longer hurts him to use his magic. He's much more capable, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to play in with this series where he's kind of at the top of his game as a Nightmare Arcanist, and obviously he can still get better at some things, fine-tune his shadow manipulation, dark side, things like that, but as far as like a power level, he's kind of hit the max unless we introduce another new system of magic, such as your aura or imbuing. And we don't get that in this book, which is fine because I think that where she's pushed the magic to is just a great spot for it. But with him being at the top, it kind of makes it feel like, well, there's nowhere more for him to explore that power, that growth. And it can sometimes cause these books to feel stale. Now, I don't think she did that because, as you'll see, well, let's just talk about it. The ending of the book where Luther dies. That shocked me. I did not see that coming. Fighting against the Grim Reaper, which is a more advanced Reaper, I did not see it coming. I didn't like it. I understand it. And I think it'll make the story a lot stronger because now Volk has a new bonded Arcanist beast that he can grow with and relearn these abilities and improve himself that way, keeping that feeling of progression and of increasing power. But Luther sacrificing himself and unmerging to deal the final blow to the Grim Reaper, just that hurt. I was sad. I like that. It was well written. I just didn't like it. I was hoping that he would follow Callisto's example, which we saw in Plague Arcanist, where Redbeard was a Reaper and he was forcibly unmerged. And I thought maybe he would be able to follow the same example and forcibly unmerge them, and then kill the Arcanist. That's not how it went, as we saw. So that's fine. We can talk about while we're kind of in the World Serpent home. We can talk about everybody who's there. We've got Riker, who is destined to be the new World Serpent Arcanist, according to the Mystics and according to Eventide. And he seems a little bit reluctant, a little bit scared. Not sure if he's the right person for the job, but I like his character growth. Little there is, very little, because we don't focus on him too much, of course. I liked just a lot of that. A lot of those scenes that going through the tree trying to get to the World Serpent. Let's talk about something else for a minute. I'll come back to who bonds with the World Serpent later, but let's save that for later. I still have hope for my Volk-Ilya relationship going forward. Now, at the end of this at the end of the last book, it was pretty clear that he was wanting to move forward with Addie. And in this book, he does move forward a little bit with Addie. However, after visiting the Isle of Ruma and learning more about her parents, and her parents, by the way, or her mom at least, is weird whether that was just the way the character is or just the way it was written, but you can tell that she is a little different and that she wants Addie and is pushing Addie and forcing Addie to get that true form, Phoenix form, so that she can resurrect her younger sister and her uncle. Obviously, this pushes Addie to where she feels she can't have any distractions, and she's so focused on achieving this true form for her Phoenix that she's really kind of missing the mark and thinking if I discover a new way to do magic, where she actually combines her manipulation and her augmentation, which was cool, but then she'll get her true form, and that's obviously not the case. While we're on the Isle of Ruma, let's talk about the attack that happens. Finally, Akiva is back, and with all of his Second Ascension Arcanists, and they are attacking. I love those scenes. The Zaxxas, he is back to being as annoying, just always trying to put himself up, put Volk down. I try to like him, and then it goes back, and I don't like it. And we see a little bit of the progression between Zaxxas and Ilya, but I don't think it's long term. But back to the fight. Akiva, the King Basilisk Arcanist, is here to attack and to kill Guildmaster Eventide, the Atlas Turtle Arcanist. They're fighting. He has his aura up, which the more death there is, the stronger he gets. Man, I just don't like him. He's been a good villain, keeps recurring, but man, how long is he going to be here without dying? Who knows? They managed to save the people, and this time, before they leave, Volk is actually recognized as a hero. And I thought it was going to turn out much differently because of his past where he was, quote unquote, exiled, for breaking into the ceremony of choosing for the Phoenixes of the first book. And I thought it was going to go the same way, where they blamed him for bringing the pirates to the island and getting attacked. And the opposite happens, where he is lauded as a hero and, very excited, and people love him again now. And I like that. It provided a little nice progression and arc to that, just like click, that is all done. At that point in the story, they're heading off to find the World Serpent Arcanist using his shield, which he's able to actually fix, which I did not think was possible based on what we'd read. I assumed that once it was made, it was kind of stuck and it wouldn't change. And he's actually able to upgrade it from trinket, even though it's not really a trinket, into full-blown artifact status. And now his shield, when it absorbs an attack, it doesn't automatically release it, but he can choose to store that attack and then release it at a time of his choosing, which he actually does later. And just all throughout this book, okay, sorry, I keep going back to this and I'm all over the place, but that's kind of how it is. There were all these exciting parts at the end and slower but still semi-exciting parts in the middle, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to be all over the place. Volk's troubles with women are hilarious and engaging to read, from Eviana, the other nightmare arcanist, who, forcibly says that I'm your betrothed and you're going to marry me. Ati to Ilya to Karna. Just hilarious, funny, and all over the place. Every one of them has a different goal. I like that he's able to kind of figure out, at least with Karna, he's able to talk to her and be like, hey, you want my time and my attention. You got to just play by the rules and ask for it. I will give it to you, but you can't play these games and try and trick people into thinking things. And, I don't like that. And I don't like it. So stop it. And, for the most part, she actually respects it and does that with her and, agrees to that and follows it. So let's see, they get to the world tree. They're going through lots of tests, lots of tricks, ones that make you sleep. And in every room, in every test, one of the members of his group is abducted. Adelgis is abducted. Then Fane gets abducted. Then Zelfrey gets taken away. And Ilya gets taken away. And all this time, their group is getting smaller and smaller until we come to a showdown between the Second Ascension and people who are left, which is basically Volk and Eviana and Riker, the prophesied World Serpent Arcanist by the Mystics. And among the Second Ascension members, we have King Rishon, who is Eviana's brother, with the true form Sovereign Dragon, and a couple members of a couple Arcanists who have the Kieran as Arcanist. And again, we see Reese, the Dread Form Arcanist, Rizzle Arcanist. How I hate him. He is always escaping at the last second. I really thought he was going to die in this one. Come on, Volk, you have a sword that cuts through everything, you know. How hard is it to just sneak up on him in the dark, give him a good enough cut that he's not going to recover from it? Then you have one huge problem dealt with. But never mind that. Let's talk. Eviana and Rishon get into a fight while Volk is dealing with everybody else. And thanks to Rishon's overconfidence, he is actually killed by Eviana. She is wounded, but not too severely. Then, after they've done that, they keep going down their test, and they appear before the World Serpent. In the world, right after, of course, this is right after Luther has died. And the World Serpent says, hey, I'm going to bond, but the only one that I'm going to bond with is you, Volk. And Volk's like, whoa. No, sir. This is the guy, Riker. He's the one. He was the prophesied one to, be you. As much as I'd love all the power, I want what's best for the world. Bond with him. And the World Serpent's like, no, that's not going to happen. I was watching everything that happens in this tree. This is my domain. I've decided it's going to be you, and it's not going to be anybody else. And if it's not you, it'll be this member of the Second Ascension. And he's like, well, okay. And then Riker, or I don't remember who exactly, I'm sorry, tells him what the actual mystics said. And they said the daughter of a thief, Erona, will bond with the World Serpent, and that is Volk's mother's name. So all along the prophecy actually was pointing at him, but he didn't know that until then. He bonds with the World Serpent, and instead of a normal Arcanist star on his forehead with 7 points, he gets a full body World Serpent Arcanist on his chest. And it has 13 points? Nope, 12 points. Sorry, it has 12 points on it for the 12 gods. At this time, the mother of shapeshifters, the mother of shapeshifters, because it owes Volk a favor, bonds with Riker, his brother, which kind of out there I did not see coming, and his is a 9-point Arcanist mark. So we know kind of regular 7, special creatures like the Mother of Shapeshifters, which is a descendant of 2 god creatures, 9 points, and then 12 points for the World Serpent. Now, when he bonds with the World Serpent says, hey, you'll be the Warlord Arcanist. You're going to do powerful and great things, and we're going to be amazing. But after we've done what we need to do and the Apoc Dragon comes, it's going to come and kill both of us. And you have to be okay with that. And he is, of course, and so he bonds him, and then they're able to go out and join the fight surrounding the tree. And again, Akiva and Reese, Akiva the King Basilisk Arcanist, and Reese the Dread Form Rizzle Arcanist, they get away again. And I just want them to die in the next book. They are powerful enemies to be sure, and good combats, but we've had no progression on them, and so I don't feel like they're really growing. They've just this unstoppable force. Oh, well, if Akiva's here, it's just going to go out into a draw, and then he'll run away. I don't want it. I want them to die. I don't like this. He does fight. They win. They fight him off to a standstill, kind of barely defeating him. But that's to be expected since Volk is literally, less than an hour bonded to a World Serpent. And I felt like this was a good reset to his powers where his overall power level has increased, but now it's at a higher level and he has to relearn everything again. So I'm really looking forward to the next book, Warlord Arcanist, when it comes out. I'm going to see how that is. We'll have to see. One thing we learned that I had a question of, it's Child of Ballister. That's what the World Serpent addresses them as, Children of Ballister. Well, who's Ballister? I like that this increases our lore a little bit and hints at some broader things. So we'll get to see what happens there. Oh, and before I forget, we know that one of the other god creatures has been bonded. Now, we don't know which one, but I think we can safely assume or predict that it will be the second god creature, the Soul Forge. I believe I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry. That's been bonded, and most likely that would be Theazin, Aelgis's father, who's bonded that. Because Autark wanted to bond the first third of the creatures for their might ability. So, I did love that we got a full list of all 13 god creatures. We can see that progression. So I'm excited for Warlord Arcanist. I hope you enjoyed reading World Serpent Arcanist with me. I thought it was a lot of fun, and that's going to wrap up everything I had to talk about it today. But thanks everybody for listening and contributing and having a fun time reading with me. Thanks to David Hillowitz for the intro and outro music. If you have any comments or questions or things you want to argue with me about, go ahead and send me an email at libromancypod@gmail.com. If you want to like and subscribe and leave a review, I'd appreciate it. But I love it. And just always remember to keep searching for the magic of books.